She's like, no, no. She made me promise not to give you the Xanax until you read this. It was Psalms 92, 93. Um, she said, no, she made me promise not to give you the Xanax until you read this. I'm begging her. I'm like, come on, Ma. It's going to take a while to work. I'm going to read it. Look, I'm going to read it. Just give me the Xanax so I got time to work, you know? She said, no, 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 no. She made me promise. I promised her. I promised her I'm not doing it. I said, okay, whatever. So I go to read it. I can't hardly see. And I start to read it. And when I tell you 2 or 3 sentences in, and I didn't even realize it at the time. Okay. While it was happening, it's not like, oh, like that. While it was happening, I didn't realize it until I was finished reading it. So about 2, 3 sentences in, I'm reading, I throw my cigarette, I keep reading, and my chest pain goes away. And by the time I finish reading it and I look up, and it's like the whole weight of the world was just lifted off of me. I had this peace I can't even explain.
Welcome to Cajun Miracles. I have with me today Kelly Johnson. Welcome, Kelly.
Glad to be here.
Welcome to Cajun Miracles, and tell us about yourself.
So right now I am 47. I own a janitorial service. Me and my husband run. I have a daughter who is almost 6. She'll be 6 at the end of next month. I have a daughter who's 27 with 3 grandkids. And God has definitely been moving in my life. Been blessed beyond anything I could ever imagine. Of course, it all didn't start out that way, though. And then, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to share, my testimony, because it's, our testimony is what we have, and that's how we share the good news of Jesus, and that's what He wanted us to do. So grateful for the opportunity. I do get a little emotional.
That's okay.
It's been through a lot in life, but like I said, God's definitely showed up. And sometimes you don't even realize until after the fact. You're like, wow, I was going through that, and then this would happen out of it. It's like, man, that was definitely God. But when you're in the middle of it, you don't see it. You just see that you're going through something, you're struggling with something, and like you don't even know where to turn. I could say that when I started getting on my knees and just reaching out to God, like He just started showing up, because I didn't have nowhere to go, no way to get there, just lost. But again, in the back of my mind, because my grandma had me in church when I was little, I knew that, man, there's got to be something else. God's got to be real, because sometimes you don't know, and it's okay to feel that way. It's, you just don't know, because God, God does stuff for other people, but He ain't did nothing for me. That's what the enemy makes you feel sometimes, Mm-hmm. So I really want to share this, how I was actually touched by God, because you hear stories and, but when it actually happens to you, it's just so amazing, and it's hard to explain. Mm-hmm. But I will share my life leading up to that.
Right.
Because that was the turning point. But man, it was a lot leading up to that.
Go ahead.
So
where did it all begin? Tell us what you passed. So
as a little girl, now my mom's been through way more than I have. She was raised in orphanages in New Orleans, and like her brothers and sisters were too. And so she had 4 kids. I'm the baby of 4. She had all of us before she was 18 years old. She met my dad leaving a bar room. She's been through a lot. Okay. So she had my brother at 13. Mm-hmm. So again, she lived extreme poverty, but when she had us, she made sure that we didn't end up in orphanages. We didn't end up in foster care. She did whatever she had to do to take care of us with no help. So that's how I know it was God, all along. Now, the world is a tough place sometimes, you know. She did well, I say God was protecting us. And he saved her life numerous times too. But anyways, living in poverty, I don't say, oh, you was poor as a kid. No, I wasn't poor. I was rich because I had my mom, I had my family. And whenever you live in poverty without money, it's you don't even as a kid you don't even realize that because you don't miss something you don't have. You don't when you see kids, that's just, you can tell that they live in poverty. Don't feel sorry for them. Just smile and tell them, hey, give them a hug, because they don't know that they living in poverty because they don't know of another way. They're just kids, and kids are amazing. So I didn't realize that I was living in poverty because she had a roof over our head. Even though Section 8 paid for it, we lived in public housing. We moved every year because they would put us in a house. And my mom was like, oh, no, I'm not staying here. I ain't raising my kids here. Y'all going to have to move us. So every year we moved. So when people ask me where you went to school, it's like, well, I went to school in every school in this town because every year we moved. But again, I didn't know we was living in poverty because my mom, I could honestly say she never whipped me. She never cussed at me. She would talk to us about everything. Now, this is what happened. Now, this is what should have happened. Now, this is what's going to happen. And this is what could have happened. Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot from her, as time went on. Now she sold drugs to take care of us because she didn't have any help from family. She didn't have, the government. We had food stamps, so we had a roof over our head from the government, but that wasn't the everyday taken care of, So she sold drugs for a living. And again, a kid that's raised in a home where you sell drugs, they don't know no other way. Mm-hmm. That's why they tend to usually do it as adults. It's something that they was taught as children. So we pray for them because if God could save just one, that one man could do a lot. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm that one that he saved us. So I try to just look, I meet everybody where they are, and I don't judge them because I know I've been there, and I know that's why God chose me and saved me and changed my life so I can help others. It's not about me. This meeting right here is not for me. It's not about me. Excuse me. Whenever I see people, it just touches my heart because they really don't know that there's another way. They really have no idea what God has for them. I could have never planned out my life right now. I could have never. When I started getting on my knees and praying for God's direction and praying for him to help me and save me, he did. And when I tell you, when God steps in, the sky is the limit. Like it is, I'm speechless when it comes to how blessed I am. We'll get into that. Let's go back from before God changed my life. Again, living extreme poverty as a child. Like we would go without water. We would go, like we had cast iron skillets and stuff because my mom would really cook on a fire outside sometimes if we ran out of butane. Now after my mom got tired of moving around in town, she found a little shack in the middle of the woods down through like, we paid $40 a month. It was literally a little shack in the middle of the woods. Now there was ponds around us and there was a bayou. The only way to get to our house was a driveway, and it was a long winding driveway, and the potholes were to your knees. Wow. My brother actually hit an alligator going down the driveway one time, knocked him out. He stuck him in the swimming pool, which our swimming pool was an old cow trough. The metal cow troughs. Yeah. That was what we swam in. And it was all rusted along the top. You had to watch not to. Hey, but we had a swimming pool. And my brother stuck that alligator in that swimming pool. And it was gone the next morning. I don't know how he got out. But that's how deep the potholes were in our driveway. Wow. My mom would put pallets along the side so we can walk on the pallets to catch the school bus in the mornings. And when I tell you, this came to mind. So little shack in the middle of the woods. You open your sock drawer one morning and there's a little nest of pink mice, like little baby pinkies. I'm like, oh, we got some more mice. It was actually something, again, if you don't know
Right.
that it's not shouldn't be that way, then you don't know. You make the most of it. We didn't know. Shoot, we just had some more animals to play with. But anyways, going forward a little bit, my mom ended up we ended up in a situation where the health inspection people got involved. My sister had a baby, and her and the guy split up. He wanted the baby, so he called Board of Health on us and stuff, and they gave us 30 days to get the house right and get a septic tank and everything, because back then all your pipes ran in the bayou.
Okay.
Excuse me. So our sewer was running straight into the bayou, and you're not supposed to be that way. So they only gave us 30 days to get it right, and we didn't have no money. So they condemned our house, which cut off all power, all water. Nobody can live here. It's condemned. So at 16 years old, they condemned our house, and we was left homeless. Now, my mom, it put her in a depression. She ended up just sleeping in my grandma's shed through a mattress on top of a bunch of boxes, and she slept in the shed. My sister ended up going with somebody else. My brothers, they were older. I was the baby. So I was only 16. I ended up homeless. Didn't know where to go. We didn't have cell phones then. Nobody checked on. I went to sleep at a friend's house, and ended up on drugs. The people in this house were smoking crack, so ended up on crack at 16 years old. I had to quit school, so I cried the day I quit. I didn't want to quit, but I didn't have no clothes. I didn't have anything. Just sleeping at different people's houses, and then ended up on crack, and then ended up with an older guy who was definitely keeping me on crack. He didn't want me to go to school and do better, No, you just stay here, So you have to be mindful of who you're around, because it will affect your life. Now, thank God, he ended up going to jail, and I never did crack again once I got away from him. A lot happened in between there. I had a little girl for him, so I got pregnant. Now that happened like for 6 years. I was with this guy and just living crazy. Got pregnant, had a daughter. That's my oldest. She's 27. I have 3 grandkids with her. But I was trying to make it. I got a job, ended up seeing somebody else. Now I was still on drugs, because this is the only way I knew, because it's how I grew up. It wasn't on crack anymore, but still, I would still take pills. I would still smoke weed. I would still drink. I would still live in that life, because it's the only life I knew. That's what I saw all my life. I thought it was normal. Now, I ended up going to Georgia with somebody else. Okay. Turns out he was a drug dealer, but it was okay, because it's what I'm used to. It was normal, and he had a nice car, and he had money, and all this because it was drug money, knowing he ain't even paid notes on the car. It's all a facade, but anyways, the devil make it look good, but it's not good. Ended up on harder drugs, because that's when meth started coming around. So it's even worse than crack. Now, so I was in Georgia, kind of in a very, very bad place, because I was forbidden to talk to my mom or anybody else. Very abusive situation. Well, I really just it's just full of drugs. We was on drugs all the time. The first time this guy did put his hands on me, though, that's when I realized that, no, I can't be here. I'm secluded from everybody. I'm on hard drugs, and now he puts his hands on me. Like, I knew better than that. Like, no, my mom did teach me that, no, you don't stay when it comes to that, because it's just going to get worse. And so that's when I decided, and I needed to get out of the situation. Now, one thing my mama did teach me that it's always stuck with me. You're never in a situation you don't want to be in because there's always a way out. It's not going to be easy, but how easy is the situation you're in? You've got to decide which hard do you want to live? Do you want to continue living this hard way? Or do you want to take one hard step for a change, you know? And that's why I was praying about it. And it kind of just happened. He put me up against the wall by the throat, and I was like, you don't fight back. Like, okay, wow, you know? But I knew in my mind that I had to go. So, I started making plans to go. Okay. He left to go to work one day. Now, originally he was from down here. So, but we was just living in Georgia. Packed up the car. He left to go to work one morning, made sure he left, packed up the car with me and my daughter's stuff. She was almost 3 at the time. He had a little Mazda MX-3, little sports car, 2-seater with a hatchback, like little bitty sports car. Okay. Packed it up with everything I could and left. Now, we get a couple hours away from home, 2-3 hours away, still in Georgia, but right kind of at the edge of Georgia, and it starts pouring down raining. I mean, raining hard, where people got on their flashers. I turn on my flashers, hands on the wheel, you know, praying, you know, that everything's okay. Well, I see we passing through a little town. There's a bridge coming up, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, when I cross this bridge, I'm going to pull over because it's just raining too hard. I can't see everybody. We're doing 45 flashers on, like it's pouring down. So we get on the bridge. Car starts hydroplaning. Now I'm in this lane. You know, there's 2 lanes going this way. I'm in this lane. There's cars in front of me, on the side of me, and behind me. The car turns around, spins, hits this side of the bridge with the back of the car, throws me off, bounces off, hits the other side of the bridge, and then bounces off of that side and clears back this side where I'm off the bridge, but I'm on side the road. And I'm aware of everything that's going on. I remember looking to this side and seeing a big truck coming straight for me. And when I tell you, not one car hit me and I didn't hit one car. And at the end of it, we was off the road. And let me just say this, my daughter, she was 2, almost 3 at the time. We didn't even have a car seat for her. She was just in the passenger seat with her teddy bear and a seatbelt. No car seat, nothing. Now, it was a hard wreck. When the cops came, it was just one cop that came. He had to literally go get a tire tool on the back of out of his trunk to pry the bumper off the bridge to look at the license plate. And my daughter wasn't hurt and I wasn't hurt. Okay. God's all over this story. Like, I've been wanting to tell this story. It's a traumatic thing that happened to me that changed everything. Okay. And I know God was calling me before, but sometimes we don't listen. And in order for things to change, something has to change. Sometimes we have to get shaken up in order for God to move and change things. So this was my Kelly girl. When I was praying for God, you know, with my hands on the wheel, Jesus take the wheel. He literally took the wheel. Okay. Wow. So, now this one cop showed up, and I had a little prepaid cell phone, you know, you flip it, pull the antenna up, you know, little cell phone, you put minutes on it. Now I didn't have many minutes. Let me back up just a little bit. Okay. Whenever I left, because I didn't work, I couldn't do anything. He kept me pretty much hostage in this house. But he sold drugs. So I knew the guy that sold the drugs for him, his wife was holding $100 for them. So I lied and told him, oh, he wanted you to bring that money. So she brought the $100. I went pick it up. I think I went pick up the $100 from her. And that's all I had. Now, again, I was still on drugs and stuff. So I did take a bag of weed with me too. I was like, oh, I'm going to take this $100 and this bag of weed. I'm gone, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's all I had was $100 when I left. Now I did stop, you know, before we got on the road, put $20 in gas. Gas was only 98 cents a gallon. It's funny how you remember the details after the fact. Bought Megan a little cupcake, and we was on our way. So when we got into this wreck, the cop, he was not nice at all.
He wasn't nice.
No, not at all. Now, again, I knew this car was scheduled to be repoed. Like, it didn't have no insurance. Like, nothing was legal on this car. So I immediately started like, look, I don't know where the paperwork is. Like, it's not mine. Told him the story. Like, look, I was in it and I'm leaving. I'm just trying to get home. He didn't care a bit. He said, I hear these stories all the time. He was like, I don't help people like you. He said, because y'all just go back anyway. He must have been through something. I don't know. But he was not interested in helping me. And I'm in the middle of, I don't even know where, because I'm like 3 hours away. And I'm far from home where I'm trying to go. So I was like, well, can you take me to a bus station or anything? He was like, well, we ain't got no bus station in our town, and I can't go out of jurisdiction. And I was like, well, what do you want me to do here? Like, you're just going to leave me here with a baby on side the road? And I think he only took me because he couldn't leave me there on side the road. It was like, there's nobody for me to call. Like, matter of fact, okay, I did try calling my mom. My mom's in Louisiana. She's poor. She didn't have no money. But I told her what was going on. And for her to try to send me money to get a bus station, get a bus ticket or something. Anyway, so the cop ended up bringing us to a cab stand. Now, the cab company charged us $50 just to get to the nearest bus station. Now, remember, I packed all our stuff in this little car, and now we had to leave it all on the side of the road. So I did have a couple of suitcases. I took everything out the suitcases and only put, her pictures, stuff that was important to me. We had to leave everything else. So everything we owned was left in that car on side the road that I don't even know what town it's in. So anyways, I got a suitcase and a bag and my baby and my little pillow with my little bag of weed in there because I had it shoved in a pillow. And we at this cab stand. Now the cab stand takes us to the bus station. It costs us $50. So we only have $30 left. Okay. The bus station is in the middle of nowheres. When I tell you, when you step outside, when you look around, all you see is fields. Like, you don't see nothing. You don't see a house. You don't see a gas station. You don't see anything. Just a little old bus station in the middle of nowheres. And it closes at noon. And I don't have no money to get a bus. I had $30. Now, I have this little phone that I'm on, so I'm calling my mom. Mom, look, I need you to send me some money. I need a bus ticket for me and Megan to get home. And, well, I don't have any money, but I'm going to see what I could find, anybody that I knew that would be able to send me money. Nobody could send me money. Nobody had money. They didn't have $60. It was just $60 I needed. But anyways, so I'm just stuck. Me and my 2-year-old stuck at this bus station. Now, again, I'm on the phone with people. There's only one other lady at the bus station. You could tell she was going through a lot too, And then this little old black lady comes in, and she must have heard me on the phone, or I don't even know, but it was definitely God sending her in. Okay. So for the bus ticket, we had $30. In order for me to get a bus ticket just to the nearest bus station that stayed open 24 hours, which was in Montgomery, Alabama, it was a big bus station that stayed open. At least we wouldn't be stuck outside. I only needed another $5. It was $35. I only had 30. Excuse me. And of course, they don't just pay it for you. I'm sure they get people like that all the time. So she must have heard me on the phone or whatnot. She paid the extra $5 for me. And she gave me an additional $5. So she gave us $10. Okay. And while we're sitting there waiting for the bus, the last bus that leaves out, because if she wouldn't have came in, we would have just been stuck outside. And it didn't open again until the next day. So we would have been stuck out there all night because there was nowhere for me to walk to. I don't even see anything. And the cell phone that I'm on is out of minutes. And it's never happened before, and it's never happened again, but it never quit working. Like, a phone don't continue to work once you run out of minute. It tells you that. But it didn't stop working. It never died on me, and it never stopped working. That was like, wow, okay, well, we still got talk time, you know? So anyways, that was God right there too. While waiting for this bus, she tells me, she's sitting talking to me. She really wasn't even questioning me. She just paid it, but she was going over and over about how, yeah, I'm just going to this next town over. It's only 15 minutes away, and I drive there all the time. I'm going to my friend's funeral. She said, but something told me to take the bus. Something told me just take the bus, not to drive. I don't know. She just kept repeating the same thing over and over, how she drives there all the time. She don't know why something's telling her to take the bus. I don't know if I'm gonna get in a wreck or what, she says. So I'm just gonna take the bus. She was sitting there for me. Had nothing to do with her. God used her to send her to me. So, and I didn't notice it I didn't realize it at the time even. I'm just grateful that, okay, we're going to the next bus station and hoping that by the time I get there, okay, y'all got a couple more hours to send me some money. So when I get there, we can get a bus ticket to continue on home. So the bus comes, we get to Montgomery, Alabama, and still no money. Still no money. Okay. Now buses take forever. It's not just a drive from this bus station to this bus station. It takes forever. So it's a long process during this day. We get to the bus station. Again, nobody still sent me no money. Nobody had money to send me. So we just sitting there. Now, another thing, my daughter, she's 2 years old. She's almost 3. 2-year-old, they're terrible twos. They run around. When I tell you, this little girl was calm as could be. She stayed by my side. I didn't have to fuss her, not once. I didn't have nothing to feed her except that muffin that morning. She never cried, never complained, never nothing. That's not normal. That was God holding her. Well, with the extra $5, I was able to get a hot dog and a bag of chips. And of course she ate whatever she wanted of it, and I ate whatever was left. But that's it. Now we had this bus station. We still can't get a ticket. Still no money. Now, by this time, the guy didn't realize I left, because he done got home from work, realized I was gone. He's blowing up the phone. I'm not answering it. I done totaled his car. I'm gone. He's a drug dealer. He done already tried to choke me. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not answering that one. So, but after the long drawn out day, knowing that nobody's sending no money, oh, well, I'm going to try again in the morning. Everybody's going to bed. This last bus leaves out at midnight. We just stuck there. So I ended up answering the phone. I answered the phone for the guy. Ooh. Yeah. And I told him what happened. And he, by all means, he didn't care. He didn't care about the car. He didn't care about nothing else. He just wanted us home. Now, I wish I could say that I didn't go. And I went back to Louisiana with my mama and life was good, but that's not what happened. But it did. God was still in the middle of all of this. Okay. So I answered the phone for him, told him what happened. And he's like, he don't care. By all means, he's sorry. I mean, he was in love with me. So, I mean, okay, whatever. So he ended up, okay, I'm gonna go get a bus ticket right now. So he went to the bus station. He paid for a ticket for us to go back to Atlanta. And so you knew if I would have sent the money that I would have used it to continue on. Right. But anyways, and he didn't have no car now to come chase me. So, so bought a bus ticket, went back to Atlanta. Now, I did decide though that I'm not doing no hard drugs no more. And like, this is it. In my mind, I knew I still needed to leave, but for the moment I had no choice but to go back. So I knew that, okay, I'm going back, but I know I'm not staying. So I'm going to have to figure out another way to get the money ahead of time and to, make a better plan. So get back to Atlanta. Now the seatbelt did cut me right here, and I was having some pain from it, but that's the day that triggered me to have anxiety. I'd never had anxiety in my life before that. I saw my mama struggle with it all her life. She would get sick. She would pass out from anxiety. I never had it though. Uh, Never dealt with it. Didn't know what it was. And my chest was hurting. And so I went to the hospital and oh no, my shoulder was fine. It's anxiety. Okay, it's crippling. When I tell you I couldn't get off the sofa, and it wasn't as bad the first 2 weeks because I didn't know. I was thinking it was the pain from the seatbelt cutting me. And so I didn't realize what it was at the time. And I'm still making a plan to leave. Okay, I just was reminded on why I ended up going back. It wasn't for me. In the middle of me being back in Atlanta, from taking the bus back, going back to this house, 2 days later, the brother and his girlfriend, she had a baby. They was in Florida and they was dealing drugs and stuff too. Well, the guy's drug dealer got killed and everything. The cops came.
Got killed?
Got killed.
Wow.
The cops came. They ended up taking my friend's little girl. She was a year younger than my daughter, so she was only 1. Took the little girl, and so they ran. They ran to our house in Georgia. Now, my friend, she's like, I can't stay here. They got my baby over there in the system. I got to go get her out. Like, I got to, well, she was in contact with her mama. Her mama came from Louisiana, went to Florida to get the little girl. So thank God she was able to get the little girl. But now my friend and her boyfriend, which is the brother, are at the house with us. And it's just, I'm dealing with these chest pains, this anxiety that I don't know. I'm trying to make a plan to go. And then now I'm like, okay, well, we got to help you get your daughter back, because now my mama had a boyfriend that was shrimping. So when he came in from shrimping, I said, okay, Ma, I need you to send me some money because now I need to get a bus ticket for me and a bus ticket for my friend. Mm-hmm. So thank God she sent me $300. And so 2 weeks I was at that house. In the 2 weeks time, I was able to help my friend leave the situation as well. And because he was just keeping her there. You're not leaving nowhere. He wouldn't let her go nowhere, just like I was trapped. Mm-hmm. So God was sending me back to help her. But anyways, if I could make a little clip of it, I would love to. But just when we get to the bus station, okay, so we got a cab to come pick us up at the house. They left to go on a job like 2 hours away the next morning. They was at work all day. We knew not to leave in the morning, so we waited till nighttime to leave because they would call the house now. I didn't have no more minutes on no cell phone for sure. He wasn't letting me have that. And the cell phone, once I was in a safe place, the cell phone did quit working. Oh. But it worked the whole time that I was gone, even though it was out of minutes. When I did try to put minutes back on it, it did take the money that I used up. But it's crazy how that never happened before, and it never happened again. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, that was God. So we waited till nighttime. That way we had a few hours head start, because by this time here, I got another vehicle. Now, come nighttime, okay, love you, good night, call me in the morning. There's a house phone they calling because he didn't put minutes back on that phone after. So as soon as we hung up the phone, I called the cab to come pick us up. Now, the cab came pick us up, took us to the bus station. That way we was good to go. Now, Atlanta bus station is huge, okay? They got rows and rows of buses. We just so happened now her bus is going to Florida, mine's is going to Louisiana because her mama's in Florida to get the little girl. So we ended up on the bus right next to each other. Now I'm sitting in this window and she's sitting in this window. And whenever the buses pull out, one goes this way and one goes that way. I'm telling you, just like in the movies, like it was awesome. So I made it back home to my mama's. Now, my mama still lives in extreme poverty. And she did end up getting her trailer and stuff. Turns out she's with a guy that I used to go sleep at their house because I was friends with his sister as a young girl, as a teenager. And a few times I would get woke up by him trying to touch me in the middle of the night. So, and I told my mama that, but I mean, she still stayed with the guy, but sometimes I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't want to stay there. And because she started hoarding, like she still lived in extreme poverty. Okay. And now I know that that's not how you should live. At this point, I was 22 years old. I was 22 years old when this happened. Okay. So, but I knew that I couldn't stay where I was. So I got to my mom's. Now, me and my daughter, I'm like, I didn't want to be there, but I didn't have nowhere else to go. And I just started praying, you know. Now, I will say, again, not the story you want to hear, but it's what happened. When the guy realized I was gone, I say 2 hours after I got to my mama's, he was there. Yeah, that's why I knew I needed a head start, okay? But I will say that I told him, look, I don't know what you're doing here. I'm not ever going back. Not going to happen. And by all means, he said he ain't got to go back neither, and he'd do whatever it takes.
He was just going to follow you?
He wanted to be with me, and he was going to do whatever it takes to keep me. Look, we could go stay at my mama's house. You know, wait, call his brother. Look, take whatever you need from the house because I'm not coming back. Now, in my mind, I don't love this man. I don't want to be with this man. But his mama was a good woman. You know, she had a clean house. She cooked every day. It was a safe space for my daughter. So I went. Now, again, I wasn't in love with the man. It wasn't nothing about the man. I just saw a safe space for my daughter because, like I said, his mama was amazing. You know, she read her Bible. She prayed. She had a clean house. She cooked. I was thinking about my daughter. And do I stay at my mama's house where this man, I would get woke up by him touching me at night, you know, and my mama didn't stop it or, you know, still stayed with the man. So I wasn't thinking of myself. I was thinking of my daughter. So, and it was a turning point. All of this was the big turning point in my life. Okay. So by this time it had been 2 weeks since I had the accident, and this chest pain ain't going away, and it's just getting worse. It was anxiety, and it was bad. Now at that point, matter of fact, I gave him the weed back. I didn't want it. I'm like, no, I've got to. Something's going on, and I didn't want to smoke weed, and I wasn't doing no drugs ever again, and that's it. Take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. Which, he was okay with it. Okay, like I said, his mama was an amazing woman. I just needed a safe place, and whatever he did, you know. I just knew that I wasn't doing anything. So she gave me a Bible to read, and I just started reading about, she gave me a rosary. Like I was having this anxiety so bad, I couldn't sleep, and I was also going through withdrawals at the same time. So I would twiddle my feet at night. My hands I couldn't keep still. And it felt like I was dying. Okay. Anxiety is crippling. It really feels like you're having a heart attack. You're dying. Now, I went to the hospital a time or two for it, but of course they just want to shoot me up with drugs. And so I didn't want that either. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I don't. I was scared to go to the hospital, but I was scared. So I prayed all the time. And when I could, I'd get my grandma to pray for me. And I just knew that God was there with me, and that he was going to take this from me. So fast forward just a little bit. We at his mama's house. He's like, well, we can't just stay here. I'm gonna go find us a house in town. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't go outside. Now later on, I did go to the doctors and stuff. They told me, they classified me as agoraphobic, which is the opposite of claustrophobic. Claustrophobic, you don't like confined spaces. Agoraphobic, you don't like big spaces. So anytime I walk out the door, it was too big. Like I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't even go to Houma. I couldn't even go to Houma. Just to drive to Houma, I would start panicking. No, bring me back home. Bring me back in my space, you know? So, and they told me I had extreme anxiety. I didn't notice at the time because I didn't find that out till later on, when I did finally get away from him and all that and was fixing myself. But anyway, one day he was like, I'm going to town, go look at this house. We need to get a house. We can't just stay here. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling okay. I'm gonna go ride with you, go look at this house. Okay. Well, halfway there, I started panicking. I'm like, I can't go. That's it. Drop me off at my mama's. You go. Because my mama's was up the bayou, like by the Bobtown Bridge. So he dropped me off by my mama's. Now I was still smoking cigarettes at the time. So smoking a cigarette. I was okay until he called my mama's house and said that, okay, he's on his way back. It's like whenever I was around him, man, it got worse. So I knew God wanted me to get away, and I had to trust that he was going to provide, And sometimes we think, oh, I gotta be in this safe space, but no, just do it. God's going to provide. And I wish I would have known these things. It would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of struggle. But anyway, I started having an anxiety attack, started panicking. Now, my uncle was at my mama's house. Now, he was a medic. He worked at Terrebonne General. He was the medic at the jail, for years. He was a medic. He knew. And so I started having an anxiety attack. He's trying to calm me down. Now, my mama did take Xanax all her life to help with her anxiety. So I did used to have hold on to one just in case I needed it. Okay. Just in case I needed it. But I got to the point where, no, I don't want that because that's addicting too. And it's just a drug. But whenever you've in the middle of an anxiety attack and you really feel like you're dying, it is a terrible place to be. And sometimes with struggling with it day in and day out, sometimes you just want a little bit relief, Not that I took it because I had it, but I hardly ever took it, okay? Because I knew that's not what I wanted. I don't want drugs to cover up this. That's what got me here in the first place, But I just could not shake it. And I was to the point where I wanted to go to the hospital. But I didn't want to go to the hospital because they was going to shoot me up with even worse drugs than this little Xanax would do. So I told my mama, go by my grandma's and give me a Xanax because I can't shake it. I'm lighting a cigarette off of a cigarette. I'm like, I done took off almost all my clothes just because I'm just trying to, like, I'm hot. I'm just going through it like really, really bad. And so I tell my mama, go get a Xanax from my grandma. She said, okay, I'm going to go. My Uncle Billy was there. My uncle was there with me. And he's trying to calm me down. Again, he was a medic. So I'm trying to calm down. It's just not happening. My grandma just lived right down the street. So my mama was back quick. Now she gets back. She comes inside. She's kind of laughing at me, okay? She makes a sign of a cross with some holy water on my forehead. And I'm like, give me the Xanax, she got a Bible in her hand. She said, no, your grandma told me to make you read this before I give it to you. I'm like, I had grabbed the Bible, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it. Just give me the Xanax. It's gonna take a while to work anyway, Ma. Come on, I'm dying here, She's like, no. She made me promise not to give you the Xanax until you read this. It was Psalms 92, 93. She said, no, she made me promise not to give you the Xanax until you read this. I'm begging her. I'm like, come on, Ma, it's going to take a while to work. I'm going to read it. Look, I'm going to read it. Just give me the Xanax so I got time to work, She said, no. She made me promise. I promised her. I promised her I'm not doing it. I said, okay, whatever. So I go to read it. I can't hardly see. And I start to read it. And when I tell you, 2 or 3 sentences in, I didn't even realize it at the time, okay? While it was happening, it's not like, oh, like that. While it was happening, I didn't realize it until I was finished reading it. So about 2, 3 sentences in, I'm reading, I throw my cigarette, I keep reading, and my chest pain goes away. And by the time I finish reading it and I look up, and it's like the whole weight of the world was just lifted off of me. I had this peace. I can't even explain. I can't explain it.
God had lifted it off of me. And I've never felt that in my life. And I wasn't, me personally, I didn't think reading this was going to do anything. I was just reading it so I can get the Xanax, But I know my grandma was praying for me. And she knew that if I could just get her to read this, she's going to see, So when I tell you I was touched by God that day, he touched me. And I'll always remember that. Because sometimes, you question, is God even real, But I'm always reminded, yes, you wasn't even looking for him that day. You didn't trust that he was going to help you. But by the power of my grandma's prayer, and by the power of his word, and the holy water my mama put on their head, the combination of that, he just lifted everything off of me. I didn't even want the Xanax. I didn't take it. I didn't even want it. I didn't even want the cigarette. It was just the most amazingest thing I've ever felt in my life. And that was just him showing up, and showing me, look, I know you're going through something, but I got you. Just trust me, and I got you. So at that point in my life, things started changing, It was a long road. Yeah, I dealt with the anxiety a lot, but it was easier because I knew I would just sit there and I would say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. When you don't know what to pray, don't know what to say, because sometimes you just don't have the words, I didn't know how to pray. I would just repeat, Jesus, 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 and I would get through the moment and it would pass. Or I would end up falling asleep because a lot of times it was at night. And it would get me to the place I needed to be just by saying Jesus, just repeating it over and over. He got me through it, Now, fast forward a bunch of years. A lot happened in between there, but God was with me and he was directing me and he was showing up. My grandma used to clean houses, and again, I still dealt with this anxiety, she cleaned houses and she come over one day, Kelly, I need some help. Your aunt's not going to be able to come help me today. Can you come help me? Yeah, grandma will come help you, Now, I was still with the guy. He didn't, it was two totally different lives. I never did drugs again. And he did still sell drugs, but without me being, involved in it. I didn't do drugs again after that. I turned into this religious Kelly. And it was just God changing me, And it was weird because the family, because all my family, they still do drugs. They still smoked weed. It was just weed though. Thank God. It wasn't the hard drugs anymore. So I could have lived with that because I lived with that all my life. Mm-hmm. It was the hard stuff that, I knew was, but anyways, they would all come over and they would laugh at me and I would preach to them. And, again, he was very controlling, so I really couldn't do nothing. But at the same time, with my anxiety, I couldn't go get a regular job anyways. So I'm just trying to, change and for God to move in my life because I know there's something better. I know I'm not supposed to be with somebody that I don't even love and I'm not in love with, And the anxiety played a big part in the decisions I made. It still kind of controlled me, even though I was seeking God. But when I tell you, he showed up more than I could have ever imagined. It just took a while. So I know that now. And I tell people, like, you just got to give it time and just keep your faith. And no matter what's going on around you, no matter who you live with, no matter where you're at, if you do what God tells you to do, it's going to be okay. He's going to work it out for you. And sometimes it's a process. Sometimes it takes longer than you would think. Oh, I've been in this situation for years. I was in that situation for years. Okay. I was in that situation for some years. Okay. 15 years, I didn't leave Houma. I got to where I could, get around town. But for 15 years, I couldn't even go to Thibodeau. That's how bad it was. But anyway, my grandma wanted me to go help her clean a house. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go help you. It was my grandma. I was good around my grandma. So I went help her clean a house. It turns out, God was moving. just making a way. So the lady, she used to have her clothes ironed by somebody, her husband and her kids. Well, the lady would come pick up her husband and her kids' clothes, and she was like, "Oh, I don't send mine." She says she don't smoke, but I could smell the smoke. They don't care, so she could iron their clothes, but but I'm not sending mine. And so my grandma would pay me $20 to clean these bathrooms. I would clean just the bathrooms, and my aunt would clean the rest of the house. I started going with her regularly, and so my grandma, they lived at these people's houses. They was there all day. They ate their food. They lived in these people's houses. I was finished cleaning the bathroom. I'm like, so I told her, well, I'll iron your clothes, while I'm here. So I started ironing clothes for her. $1.25 a piece of clothes. So, and it was just God saying, give an opportunity and you take it, be humble, because I was cleaning toilets. I was ironing clothes, but I did it. And when my grandma taught me, like, I couldn't mop a bathroom floor. I had to do it with a towel, because, the mop leaves hairs. It just don't come out as good unless you do it by hand. She taught me that anything you do, you're not doing it for these people. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for God. God's giving you this opportunity. I'm a servant, and I've always been a servant, and I'll carry that to this day. Any bed that I made after that was Jesus's bed. But it's true, when you hold yourself to that higher standard, knowing that you could be in a wheelchair. You couldn't even be cleaning bathrooms, you could be unable to do anything, but God's blessed you with any ability that you have. Even if you are in a wheelchair, he's got a ability for you, and sometimes it's not just about us too. It's about somebody else. So, but anyways, it taught me a lot. God was definitely there showing me. And I say this going forward, like, I tell people, God don't want us to fail. Okay. So in the beginning of when my life changed, he blessed me with something small and something as a servant, cause even though I was making money doing this, I was providing a service for people. I was serving people, but I looked at it as like, man, whenever you finish a job, you just feel accomplished. It's done good, Yeah, because I did everything like this was Jesus's house. You don't halfway do anything, because it don't matter if the people's not going to see. God sees. It don't matter. I tell people, because now we got a whole business. We got people that work for us and everything. Tell people, you're not stealing from me whenever you don't clock out and you just sit around. God sees all that. You're hurting yourself. You're not hurting me. So anyway, that's what started out God creating opportunity for me. Okay. Now I did end up leaving the guy. I went to mental health. That's when they told me I was agoraphobic and had extreme anxiety, and they gave me a check right away. That usually don't happen either. You got to jump through all kind of hoops, they say. But I just needed a little bit help, to get on my own and to get out of that life that I grew up in, that I was living in, and that was God's way of helping me. Okay. Now, I applied for Section 8 because I know how to do that. That's how I lived all my life. Section 8 was about to start paying my bill, my rent, but my Social Security check was paying. I got my own place. It was paying the rent, and I was cleaning houses with my grandma, and I ended up getting my own houses. So I cleaned houses during the day while my little girl was at school, and the check paid the rent and the food stamps paid the food. Hey, I was good. Now, in my world of what I knew and what I grew up in, I was set. That's the life. That's what you want, to be set. Social Security paying my bills. Matter of fact, just for now, because Section 8 is about to kick in, I ain't even going to have to pay the rent with it. I'm going to be able to use that for whatever I want, the lights and water and all. And this house money that I'm cleaning houses with, that's all free and clear. That's cash. So in my world, I was set. The people that I grew up with, like the poverty level, like that's goals right there. Mm-hmm. And I met them, God provided. But when I tell you he's got more than that, way more than that. Okay. So this gets exciting because a lot of people stay in that and they think, oh, I can't get a job because then I'm gonna lose this. I can't do that because then I'm gonna lose this. No, you're gonna gain way more than when I tell you God was moving in my life. So I got an opportunity. I had a friend who worked for a cleaning service, and that cleaning service was about to get fired from a job, a company, a commercial job, a commercial cleaning job. Now, this commercial building, they only did it every other week, and it was on a weekend. Now, because she worked for the company that was doing it, she said, they about to get fired from this job. Kelly, you should go see about getting this job. You could do it, you know? I'm like, I don't know. I would need insurance. I would need, She's like, no, they don't even got no insurance. And I was like, oh, really? I thought you need this and that, She's like, no, they don't even have no insurance. You just go talk to the people. So I made an appointment. And when I tell you God was with me, because I still dealt with, I don't have anxiety. It still comes up sometimes. I don't claim it though, and I rebuke it and I pray Jesus over it. But I still deal with it sometimes. But it's okay. God sees me through it every time, and it's way less than what it was when I started. But anyways, he was with me in those meetings because I could have never did that on my own. Never. Okay. So I made a meeting with the lady, the office manager. Made a meeting with her, and I told her, offered my services. Hey, look, a friend of mine's the one doing it. I heard they get, but look, I can do it for you. We'll match the price that you're paying. Oh, okay. She said, okay, well, we'll call you. Now, I knew that if I got this job, because it paid $1,000 for that one cleaning, and that's twice a month. So that's $2,000. Okay. Now, God was stirring me up. Okay. He said, because I'm like, man, that one company pays that much. Imagine if I had 10. And but at the same time, in the back of my mind, if you get that job, you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your food stamps. You're going to lose Section 8. You're going to lose that check. And if you lose that job, you're going to be screwed. Because the enemy wants to keep you where you are. He don't want to see you grow. And God has way more in store if you just trust him. Like, I've learned this. Again, you don't see it when it's happening until after the fact. Like, wow, it's just amazing. So I prayed about it. And I was like, God, if it's your will that I get this job and all I got to do is work for it, long as you make me able to work for it, I could do that. I'll trust you, I'll let this stuff go. Because I know with that $2,000 is more than what these people are giving me, and that's just one company. I know I could get more. I know I could do it if you just see me through it, So I prayed about it. 9 months went by and thought about it after. It takes 9 months to create new life, 9 months had went by, and I didn't give up though. I just kept praying about it, and maybe not this one, but maybe another one, 9 months later, though, the lady called me and I got that job. Okay. And I called my sister, my friend. Hey, can y'all come help me clean this place? Look, I'm going to pay you this month. Pay you $100 for the day. Because it only took us a day to clean it. And so, and God taught me business because, okay, when moving all the time, always changing a different school, moved to Dulac when I was 10 is when she found a little shack in the middle of the woods. So I was 10 years old when we moved to Dulac. That's the first year that middle school had opened, Grand Cayenne Middle, 4th grade. I remember it. First year it opened, that was my first year down Grand Cayenne. So I never made it to the elementary school. I moved there when the middle school opened. But I failed a lot because I lived in poverty. I failed a lot. I started smoking weed with my mama when I was young, I stayed at the middle school for a long time, so I was uneducated. I think I failed and stayed 4 times at Grand Cayenne Middle. By the time I did make it to Ellender, to high school was whenever I had got on drugs and I had to quit. So I didn't even make a whole year in high school. A half of 9th grade was all I made. So I didn't know nothing about business. I didn't know anything. I was uneducated, you know? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that too after a while. God wanted me to get that. But anyways, God was with me through all this because again, I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know none of that. So anyway, I got the job and the money that came in it's like, and I even tried to ask help like from family members who did, was better, than my family was in. Oh yeah, well, you're gonna need to do this and do that, and they didn't help me at all. So, oh, you're gonna need insurance. Well, what I need over there? Oh, I don't know. You're gonna have to call and see. Okay, well, I'll figure it out on my own. Okay, God directed me, and when I tell you, He did. So, I started the business. Okay, the check was gone. The food stamps was gone. Section 8 never even did pay 1 month of my rent. So, and I made some flyers. Just the business started. God directed me, and the business started. I got insurance. Okay, so the money that I made, I paid my people in. Like, let's see, the first check, I paid out $400 because I had 4 friends come help me. So I had $600. I was like, what? $600 for this one day of work? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna do this and this with it. So that's how I got my insurance and got everything. So I didn't have to borrow no money. I didn't have to have good credit because I didn't. God provided every step of the way. He provided the knowledge, the strength, and the courage for me for these meetings. Just everything. The money, He provided it all. And so I made some flyers, passed out some. I got a couple of more jobs. And the business took off. Okay, I mean, it took off. Not something I could have planned on my own at all. I didn't plan, oh yeah, I'm gonna start me a business one day. Oh yeah. No, that was not in my plans. I didn't have a plan like that. God just made it that way. You see, because I didn't know what God had for me. You don't know what God's got for you unless you just obey Him, and you'll see, but I do know. And this is something I've always made sure of, to let people know it's not me. This is God. This is not my company. This is God. This is not my house. This is not my cars. This is not my money. None of this is for me. This is God's. And He just entrusted me with it while I'm here. That's it. I have a friend, and she would come over, we would talk every time we would hang out, just in conversation. I would say she said, oh, Kelly, you got some of this? Oh yeah, they got some in the cabinet. Oh yeah, they got one like that over there, And in her mind, that was all mine. She was like, why you always say they? Why you always say they? That's yours, girl. Claim it. I said, well, I mean, it's mine for right now, but when I die, I can't take it with me. And so the enemy even tried to make me be prideful. But I just knew, all I know, it's not mine. It's just a cabinet. It's just the stuff that's in the cabinet is there, So one thing I always acknowledge, that it's not mine. None of it is mine. God just entrusted me with it. And in the beginning, okay, when I just had these couple of houses, I paid tithes. People don't realize that, oh, the church don't need your money. No, the church don't need your money. But at the same time, they do, And I'm grateful that we have churches to go to. And if nobody gave nothing, how would they even make it? If everybody thought that way, you wouldn't even have a church to go to. But that's not the point. The church needs your money. No, God needs you to trust Him. And so when I started in the beginning, because that's a big part of it, when I started in the beginning, the little bit that I was making, even though I could have used every dollar, because I was just starting out and I didn't have that check no more. And I had to rely on the work, and I had people to pay. And I was learning all this on my own. Make sure that the money's coming in on time to pay these people that's helping me, to pay the insurance, to pay. And I had no help. It was just me and my daughter. I was single a lot in my life. I tried, but it didn't work out. Anyway, that's another story. But God was with me, He was definitely with me through every step, because I didn't know. He had to show me, So when I tell you the company blew up, it was amazing. Like, I'd say our best year, we brought in $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Now we was rock and roll. I had a house. I had the trailer that I was living in. Whenever I did have Social Security and stuff. Well, actually, I was renting a house, and then one of my customers called me. Kelly, I got this trailer. I need you to go look at. I need it clean. I just bought it. Then he called me back. He said, you know what? Why you there? Look at it. See if you want it. He said, I rent to own it to you. He said, I know you paying rent. How much you paying rent? I said, I pay $650 a month rent. Well, I wish rent was that cheap nowadays. But anyway, for people, But he was like, yeah, just pay me that. He said, if you want to let me know. He said, it's yours. So, God provided me a trailer. So anyways, company was rocking and rolling. Not this trailer. When I bought this house, man, so many stories in between. I'm gonna tell you why I bought a house, okay? Because I didn't think I could bought a house. That's not something nobody in my family did, that I know of. That's not even a thought in my mind. I got this trailer. Okay, I finished paying the trailer, but I pay a lot, that's all I'm gonna have. Well, my daddy came in my life. Now, my daddy was never in my life, okay? He was from New Orleans. He came down a couple of times, but he was a drunk and he was on crack, and he just was never in my life. Well, turns out he got a hernia, and he ended up in the hospital for like 4 months. And so he lost everything because he lived check to check too. When you don't get a check for 4 months, when you come out, you ain't got nothing. So he ended up, and he was from New Orleans. He ended up down here at my brother's house. My grandma, again, step in. Kelly, you need to go see your daddy. That's your daddy. I don't care, how you feel about him, but he's dying. That's your daddy. You do it for him, God would want you, to forgive him and to do stuff. I'm like, well, I don't even know the man, but okay, I'll go see him. What can it hurt, Now, my brother lived in extreme poverty too. His was bad. Now, so my daddy, excuse me, well, like had a garbage bag in the middle of the hallway so it could keep the air for him, So move the garbage bag, go in the room. It's bad. You watch Hoarders on TV, it's almost like that. You can walk, but whew, ain't much better. So, I see my daddy, it was just a meeting, I saw him. That's it. Okay, hey, Dad, how you doing? And I did feel bad for him where he was living. Cause I'm like, man, he ain't gonna make it staying over here for sure. And, he ended up back in the hospital. Then my grandma called me again. Kelly, go see your daddy. He's in the hospital. I don't think he's going to make it. I said, all right, I'm gonna go see him. So I go see him in the hospital. And, he's talking to me, he really don't have nowhere to go when he gets out, And I had this trailer that I was living in. It was a 3-bedroom, and it's just me and my daughter. So not even thinking, I said, well, you could come stay with me, Dad. The man's a stranger to me, I didn't know him, and he had a girlfriend. It was a black chick. She was crazy. We call her name was, I can't tell you her name. But anyways, just think anime. Just picture her, she was funny, she was cool, she was crazy. But I was like, well, she really does need to come with you because I'm going all the time. Megan, my daughter's at school, I'm at work. When she comes home from school and we go clean companies at night, I'm never home. I'm not going to be able to take care of you. You could come stay with me, but I'm not going to be able to take care of you. So yeah, your girlfriend needs to come too. Whew. That was not in my plans. But again, just because I obeyed, it wasn't about me and my convenience and what was good for me. But because I obeyed and listened and offered it when he got to the hospital, he sure called me. Oh, they discharging me. I did not expect that. But here we are. All right, I'm coming get you, So him and his girlfriend came stay. Me and my daughter was there 2 days. I couldn't stay with him. I couldn't. And he had a colostomy bag, which smells bad. Okay. And his girlfriend was crazy. And I don't even know these people, and they're strangers in my house. I'm not comfortable. My daughter's not comfortable. Like 2 days we was there, and I was like, I can't stay. Now, because of the agoraphobic that I dealt with, I never left town. So during the summertime, I felt bad for not taking my daughter on trips or nothing. So we would rent a hotel just locally for her to spend the weekend or the week, for the summer, so she can invite some friends and she could swim. So I was like, we're going to a hotel. Rented a hotel for a week. Now, again, this was God, because sometimes we don't know how to make the decisions. We don't know what to do. So God just, look, I just tell him, look, do what you want with me. So at the hotel, I'm like, man, I don't want to go back there. What we going to do, Megan? Like, what we going to do? So she was like, well, why we can't get a house? I was like, well, I don't know. Let me see. So, so let me call somebody. I don't know. So call, say, oh, I could get a house. What I need? Oh yeah, I could do that. So they had this house that we was looking at, and it was like, well, we could need to rent something because it takes a little while to buy a house. They had this house just came up that, oh, it's for rent and it's for sale. So you could rent it until the sale goes through. Oh, perfect. So the day we checked out the hotel, we went to the house. We didn't have to go back to the trailer. And then we ended up buying a house. We didn't buy that house, but we ended up buying a house. But because of my obedience and me listening, opening my door, even though it was my daddy, it was a stranger, God moved us up, Let me go back to where I lost track, because it was about tithes. In the beginning, when I just had a couple of houses, he trusted me with a little bit and I tithe, okay? Because he don't want us to fail, because this is important to me. People need to know he don't want you to fail. Most people believe, well, why he don't bless me with this and that? Well, because if he did, he would lose you completely. People don't realize that. Can he trust you with a little bit? It don't matter what you say, it's what you do. Whenever he trusted me with that little bit, with the little houses, and the little bit money, and I tithed and I did the right thing. And, he saw that he could trust me with a little bit. And so by increasing, okay, I still did the right thing, because sometimes the more you get, the worse you get. The more prideful you get, the more, oh, look at me you get, the more fancy you get. And I didn't do that. So, and I still know that it's all God, even that year that I made that $1 million, when I tell you I was single, I didn't have nobody to answer to. I could have did whatever I wanted, but I didn't do nothing that God wouldn't have wanted me to do. I didn't do drugs. I didn't go on shopping sprees and go on vacations. I didn't do, and I think the anxiety part had to do with that too. And that's why he didn't take it from me completely, because he needed me to be still. He needed me to be still and to be patient and continue working. And that's still the case. We still have to be still and let God work. It's not about us, So, but anyways, that's my point about how important it is to give God the glory and to do the right thing with what you got. But to also know that you can't it's not all yours. Okay. So I don't even want to say this right now, because but I want to tell you, because it's important, that whenever you give because God gave to you, and he entrusted it to you to be able to help others, not to shine light on yourself. Oh, look what I did. Oh, look what I'm doing for God. Look what I'm doing in the church. Look what I'm helping the homeless. You do it for God, and it does something for you. You get rewarded in heaven and here on earth, but by God, not by other people. Oh yeah, she does this for God, she does that for God. No, the things that we do for God, nobody knows. Because we don't do it to shine light on, oh, look what we doing. When I paid my tithe all those years, I never filled out the paper. I always just gave it. Okay. Now, eventually I ended up going to a church, and I said, well, it's important, because if you're going to be involved, we need to know that, you're doing the right things. We need to know that you're tired. We need to know that you're doing certain things, or not doing certain things, they hold you to a standard, And so we filled out the paper, and so, so we got the thing back at the end of the year, how much we gave. And, and I was like, Now, people's probably going to feel different about this, but hey, we all got to answer to us, whatever. Uh, uh, like, I felt like, man, I was rewarding from giving, like being able to claim it on my taxes. I don't know. It's just how I felt. Again, I might be wrong, but it's just how I felt. So I'm like, so we went back to, I don't even fill out the paper. If you don't trust me, that's on you. If you don't let me help in the church, that's on you. But God's going to show you. But anyways, so we went back to not filling out the paper because for us, it just makes us feel better that nobody needs to know. That's for God to know. And he's going to increase, and he's going to find a way for us to reach people like he found, he led me to you. So it's not all about you. It's not all about the church. It's not all about other people, it's all about you. Now, who wants to be single? Nobody. Yeah, I was able to do whatever I want. I didn't have to answer to nobody, this and that. I worked all the time. At that point, I had a house. Now, the trailer that I was living in, I took that with me because the property I bought, it was a little over 2 acres. It had a private road. The people used to have a trailer for their son in the back already. So I was like, oh, cool. God provided money. I got the money, move the trailer with me. So I had the house in the front. The trailer was my office. Turned that into an office. Excuse me. So I had a secretary. I was able to hire me a secretary. When I tell you it was blowing, it was that the company was rocking and rolling. Okay. That 1 year we brought in $1 million. Had 2 company vehicles. Had working day and night. I had teams working for me. So I didn't have to do all the work. I was helping others. I say it's not easy to spend $1 million in a year because I definitely didn't pocket it all. It all had to go somewhere. But we provided for a lot of families. We, serviced a lot of people, And when I tell you, that's only God because, again, uneducated, didn't have no other help but God. Let me throw in the education part. So my daughter, she was an only child. She never really had friends. She never wanted to go to the dances, never wanted to do nothing like that. So she didn't really have friends at school. She was always kind of quiet, She's like, Mama, I want to go to private school. Again, I'm like, private school? I ain't never in my life thought I could send you to private. Oh, but let me see. So I called her. What, $300 some a month? That's it? Oh yeah, you go on, baby. You go on to private school. Okay. So she went to, now this was her 9th grade year. Okay. She went to private school. She went for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. Now come 11th grade, she said, she again, it didn't change who she was. She still didn't really have friends. And a lot of those kids grew up in the school, in a private school setting. She was new to it and she didn't really have friends, but it's not because of the people that was there. It's because that's just how she was, And then now her cousins are older and she's like, can I go to Ellender with my cousins? I just think high school should be a little bit fun, And I'm like, well, you're right. Okay, you're an AB honor roll student. You better keep your grades up because that's not a good school, as long as you keep your grades up. So, okay. All right. Sign her 11th grade year. Sign her out of the private school. Sign her up at Ellender. She went like 2 months. She's like, oh, Mom, she didn't like it. The teachers was cussing. They was always absent. They was getting dispersed to different classrooms. It wasn't no fun. It was actually worse. She said, yeah. So she was like, well, can I just homeschool? I was like, well, baby, I can't homeschool you. I didn't even finish school. She's like, well, no, I could do it all myself. You do it online. You doing it. I said, okay, well, you figure it out. You set it up and all right, you could do that. Because the goal is to just get your diploma. She wasn't getting no tops or, no help with college. I was going to pay for that. So the goal is to just get your diploma. Okay, cool. I'll sign you out public school, homeschool you. Well, she did nothing for like 2-3 months. Hold up. You can't, look, you got to get this diploma if you want to go to college because you're doing something. So I had a couple of ladies that worked for me that was going to Bayou Cane, the adult school. So now, again, she was 16, 17. So I was like, well, let's see if you could go get your diploma at Bayou Cane because, you got to have a reason. She did get migraines, so she missed school a lot. And so that was good enough. We just needed a doctor note saying why you miss a lot of school. So you just need, all right, cool. again, still her 11th grade year. Her friends are still in the 11th grade. But she's like, Mom, she's like, that's adult school. She said, I'm scared. She's like, can you come with me? I laughed. I was like, girl, I ain't got time for school. A couple of ladies that was working for me, they've been going there for a couple of years. I was like, I ain't been to school in over 20 years. I don't have time to go to school. Oh, Mama, please just come with me, please. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with you. I said, I don't know, just till you're comfortable. I said, but I mean, I can't commit to going to school every day. So set it up. Me and her went, take the test. They had a few other people in there. Now, again, she was an AB honor roll student in the 11th grade. They had other kids too around her age, teenage, 19, 20 years old. I had top scores of the whole class. Yeah, the test that they take to see where you at, to see what you need. I had top scores of the whole class.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I'm smarter than you. So, all right, cool. Yeah. All right, let's see how this goes. Now this was in May because remember, 11th grade, she started out at private school. She went to public school. Then she went to homeschool. Now this is the end of the school year. It's May. We started at Bayou Cane and we finished in May, both of us. Look, they said, well, you need at least 40 hours. We kind of a public school setting just for adults. We need you to make 40 hours before we can send you take the test. I said, well, look, I got to go to work. She said, don't sign out. I'm going to sign you out. So I didn't even make 40 hours, I ended up making my 40 hours. But just that day, she said, well, we're going to help you, She said, but you ready? You ready to take the test? I said, okay, well, cool. Let's take it and see. So we went, got to go to the library, you take the test, and I passed with college level. So I got my diploma in a month.
You.
Yeah, I don't know why God wanted me to have it, but it's like, okay, 'cause I can't say I'm uneducated anymore. So anyway, that was kind of just a side story about, when God's in it, man, you just don't know. Just try, When he says to do something, just try it, because you never know what he needs it for. So maybe he needs me to have that for later on. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyway, just try it. And God's in it. He's going to make it happen. And we even did, again, with the anxiety I dealt with, they needed, they usually like to have a couple students do a speech on stage. Me and my daughter did a speech on stage in front of everybody at the Civic Center. That was only God, too, because I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. And when I wrote the speech, my daughter wrote hers. Oh, no, you got to redo that whole thing. Mine, she said, oh, yeah, you good, Kelly. I was like, well, I want to change a couple of things. Oh, yeah, we trust you. I did really good. I was like, okay, that's awesome. But anyway, so I got my diploma. Now let's go to where I'm at today. So our best year, we made $1 million, we're rocking and rolling. But again, I was single. Who wants to be single? It's not something people want, it's lonely at night. Yeah. By the time I went to bed, I was so busy. By the time I went to bed, I didn't have time for nobody anyway. And I tried dating here and there, but again, I really didn't have time for nobody. I didn't make time for nobody because I was on a mission, God had a mission for me. So, now my oldest daughter's daddy, my Megan, she's 27. That's the one that I was on drugs with at 16 on crack, and he ended up in jail. So my very first relationship was a prison relationship because he was in jail, and I actually was in love with him at 16 because I didn't know nothing else. I didn't know nobody else. I got a job. I took care of him, So my very first relationship was a prison relationship, So again, and living in poverty and living in that environment and all my peers, I'm comfortable with anybody. So, and I've always felt, and to be where I am today, I feel like God brings people in your life. It's not always about you. Sometimes it is, but it's not always about you. It's just to trust him. And so anyway, through all this time, I always did help people. Okay. And again, that's why God increased because I didn't hoard the money. I didn't, oh yeah, look what I got. This is mine, and stack money. I ain't got no money saved right now. I ain't gonna lie. It's because we give it all away. But it's okay. God provides. Look, I do it joyfully. It's amazing how you do it with such joy, knowing that God's gonna provide, it just amazes me how much joy I get
when we give it, and nobody knows. So anyway, there I was, single, making money. Okay. Well, every now and then, I even had a contract with the work release. Okay, when we had work release on Savannah Road. So I had inmates working for us at one point, and they was a big help. God was sending me help, and they needed help. So I was able to help people, and touch their lives, So anyways, I was 41 years old. Okay. I got this phone call from this man in prison. It's like, I don't know who this is. Okay. But again, I always take it as there's a reason for everything. People call you, it could be for a moment. You just got to trust in God no matter what happens throughout your day, no matter how small or how big. So this man calls me and he was like, hey, my name is Larry. He's like, I know you don't know me and all, but I got your number from such and such. And I was like, oh, hey, okay, well, I'm in a meeting right now. Hold on a second. I had an earpiece in my ear. So you're just sitting in my ear the whole time I'm in this meeting. And then, so the phone, you only got 15 minutes. Then you got 60 seconds remaining to this phone call. So, the phone he goes to hang up. I was like, well, look, I'm almost done in this meeting. Call me back in 15 minutes, Like, okay. He's like, okay, I'll call you back, I don't know who this is, but we're going to see, maybe God's got a word for me, for him. I don't have a clue who this is. So he calls me back and we ended up talking and just talking, just ended up just talking and talking and talking. Now, of course, he told me who he was, and we got Facebook and all this stuff going on, social media and all.
How did you find out who you were?
He got my number from somebody in jail.
Wow.
Yeah. He got my number from somebody else I helped in jail. Okay. So, because they had this guy and his girlfriend, and they had kids, and I ended up paying his bond money to get out of jail. And then, but he ended up going right back to drugs. So I revoked his bond and sent him back to jail. But anyway, hey, you can help somebody, but if they don't do the right thing, you can't continue to help them. I've learned that early on too.
Right.
You can help a person, but if you continue and they're still doing, then you're just enabling them. Right. You can't do that. You can't do that. And I don't care how hard it is. I don't care what it is. I send him back to jail, revoke his bond, pick him back up because, no. So anyways, he got my phone number from this guy. Okay. Just somebody that I helped along the way. But again, they have to answer for that. All I do is feel like I listen to what God tells me, and however it goes for them. I know he's going to protect me, and I know, hey.
So the guy called you back?
Yeah, he called me back. Okay. So he called me back, and we ended up just talking. Again, we got social media and everything. So he told me his name, and I didn't look him up for a little while, just talking to him.
And he kept calling you more and more?
He kept calling me more, and I would tell, call me back, because I enjoy talking to him, okay? Because, again, it's an outside person that don't know. It was my person to talk to now, because he don't know me or none of these people I'm talking about, or whatever situation I'm dealing with. And he was very positive. I could tell he had a good heart, I enjoyed talking to him, so he was actually doing more for me than I was doing for him, and so it's like God, he'll send somebody, but, long story short, that man gets out of prison and I went pick him up, and 2 weeks later I was pregnant. 6 months later we was married. But look, when I first did go look him up finally on social media, I was like, oh Lord. Oh, this is the man I'm talking to right now. Oh man, this is a bad man right here. But I wasn't. So the thing is, I wasn't pursuing a relationship with him. Right. I wasn't, trying to gain anything by talking to this man. Right. I just knew. It just felt like, God was giving me somebody to talk to, and him. And because he's tall, skinny, tattoos all on his face, you could, and you get to do video visits while they in jail. So his hair was all crazy, because you can't get a haircut, right haircut in there. So when I finally did video visit, I'm like, wow, okay. Definitely not
But you fell in love with it.
Yes, I
Isn't that
fell in love with
amazing?
him. Yeah, because he's got a good heart. Now, I had been proposed to 6 times in my life, but I felt they wasn't right. Yeah, they was good people. They had a job. They gave me all the money, but their heart wasn't pure. Their heart wasn't right, you know. And I knew God had better for me. I didn't have to settle. Because it don't matter what they had. Because I had people that, they had their own house. They had it going on and would give me whatever I wanted. But that's not what I just felt. It just wasn't. It just didn't happen because it wasn't supposed to happen. This one was supposed to happen, so I knew it right away. Wow. I knew it right away. And he didn't have any kids before, and he was told he couldn't have kids. 2 weeks later, I got pregnant. I was 41 years old. So today I have a daughter. She is almost 6. She has Down syndrome. And it is such a blessing. When I tell you, God knew what he was doing. I'm an old mama, so you're going to give me one that's going to be on my level. Because my grandkids, I send them home sometime. They running around the house. They driving me crazy. Oh, no, y'all go home. My Ivy, she got Down syndrome. She is amazing. She has some health complications. And when I tell you this man that God sent me is amazing. Now, he stopped me in my tracks. I'm telling you, God stopped me in my tracks because I was rocking and rolling when this man first, I was talking to him on the phone. He came home from jail. I ended up going to pick him up and we ended up staying together, But again, I wasn't making time for nobody in my life because I had a business to run. I was on a mission at that point, I know that's why I got pregnant right away and he stopped me in my tracks because I had no choice but to get to know this man, like really get to know him. Because I ended up on bed rest. At 41 years old, pregnancy ain't easy. My senses were shot. When I tell you, I couldn't get out of bed. I had a whole business to run, I couldn't get out of bed. I could barely even have clothes on because just the touch of my skin, it was bad. I was sick the whole time and I could barely just get up to go to the bathroom. It was very, very, very bad. But it was God stopping me. And when I tell you, this man did everything for me. I mean, he took care of me. I got to really get to know him in those 9 months of being pregnant. Well, 8 months. And he was amazing. And I can't say that I would have gave him that opportunity if I would have been still just rocking and rolling, and God blessed us with Ivy and she is just the little angel. So we, and I told him when he first came home, because, this life was new to him. He didn't go to church and do, stuff like that before. He grew up the same kind of life I did. Mm-hmm. So this was a whole new world for him. And I told him from the beginning, I don't push God on nobody. You can't. You've got to choose it for yourself. And look, I'm not going to tell you got to come to church with me. But guess what? I'm going to church. You can come if you want. And because I know what I need, So I stood firm on, what I needed and what I know I got to do, And so thank God, he changed his life too. And man, he's just amazing. The things he does for God. People say, oh, yeah, that's a good man. He'll give you the shirt off his back. Well, this man, he'll give you the shoes off his feet. Now, shoes is his thing. Like he don't drink. He don't do drugs or none of that. He spends his little money on Jordans because he never was able to get none as a kid. His first pair of tennis shoes, Jordans, he stole them off of somebody's porch. And so now if he sees somebody walking, like it's hot summertime or even it's cold, it don't matter what the weather is. If he sees somebody or comes in contact with somebody and they don't have no shoes on, or you could clearly see they got holes in the bottom of their shoes, he'll give them the shoes off his feet. I don't care if he just bought them $300-$400 pair of Jordans. He give them the shoes off his feet. And we open our door to homeless people. And it don't always work out. I could tell you that it don't always work out. And sometimes we get discouraged. Like, man, another one, We tried to help and it back on the street, back doing this, back doing that. No, we're not doing it no more because it hurts us too much. It affects us too much. And then God will send somebody else. And, like we both get excited. Okay. Because if we could just, and even though we know that we didn't save this person because only God could save this person, but we showed them a different way and we planted some seeds and throughout their life, God's going to water those seeds. It's on that person. You know, so we just continue to one funny thing is, okay, so he works as security at church, watches over the offering and the pastor and all. It's just funny to know that he was in prison and he has this record, you know, but yet he oversees stuff now, you know. He's a protector now. So it's amazing what God could do. When I tell you, like, to know where we at right now and to not know what the future holds even, it's like, it's just amazing. This journey has been amazing. And we're just so grateful.
Well, Kelly, you've been blessed. It's been very exciting, and I really appreciate you telling this story. It's going to be
so
very
glad.
inspiring for many people.
Yeah.
And hope to have you again someday.
Yeah, we got many more little stories, you know.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.